Welcome back to Higurashi. So, we are at chapter 11 here. So, let's start off with these tips. From the scrapbook 9, and then from the scrapbook 10. Let's see. And then we've also got the elderly leader of the Sonozaki family, which is Mion's grandmother. And then, I don't know what this is, request denied, so we're gonna find that out. The Sonozaki family. Okay, so this is more of Takano's notes, so just always have to keep that in mind. Not to take everything here with like 100% fact. Maybe like 85% fact. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryo Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. Oh, interesting. Okay, hold on. That would not be in the Meiji period then, I don't think. Unless she's like literally over 100 years old. No, she'd have to be like... Actually... No, there's no way she would still be alive if she was... Yeah, there's... No. That's gotta be from the, never mind, just forget what I'm talking about. They're probably gonna tell us anyway. Oryo Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. I think unequivocally, though, we can probably say for sure that Oryo, or Mion's grandmother, is probably a bad person. She's probably behind a lot of this. Not necessarily all of it, but she's probably played a big part in a lot of the goings-on, the horrible parts of Hinamizawa. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter, Mion, but it's rumored that it has to do with disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. Yeah, which, again, it seems to be that there's gotta be like a reason why her mother and father, Mion's mother and father, left and live in Okinomiya. It's very strange, but it seems to play a bit into why Shion has the attitude that she does as well. That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins, and is permitted the name of Demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution, and is probably hiding her fangs and claws, as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. I forget when it was said, but there was one thing in, it was either one of Takano's notes earlier or something like that, but they mentioned something about the way that Watanagashi traditionally worked. And it was kind of like, it reminded me a bit of The Purge, where it's like crime is allowed on one day. And it's kind of like that, where it seems to be that you're allowed to kill somebody on the day of the Watanagashi, whoever you are. Just anybody in the village is allowed to kill one person. Like, that's what it made it seem, at least. So, I don't know. I wonder if maybe that's going to end up being a thing, where it's like, the killer could be anybody, because anybody is allowed to kill on the night of the Watanagashi, or if it's actually always going to be the killer's the same person each time. It's always like a coordinated thing. I don't know. We'll find out. So, the elderly leader of the Sonozaki family. We're going to find out more about Oryo.
Hi. 郵便局員も目撃してないそうです。園崎本家は郵便受けにハンコが吊るしてあるそうで、書き留めも宅配便も勝手にハンコをして投函していいことになってるんだそうっす。
そりゃ不用心ですね。 ってことは、最後の目撃はいつになるんです？
Watanagashiの開会式でした挨拶が最後です。その後すぐに帰宅したらしいですから。
恒例ですからね。話じゃ週に何回かお稽古事で外出してるそうじゃないですか。そっちはどうです？
毎週月曜に集会所で大正事を習ってるんですが、今週は休んだそうです。
Okay, hold on. So anybody can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in. So she hasn't been seen since, well, I don't know.
欠席の電話とかは？それを誰かが確認したとかは？
いえ、誰も。ただ、たまに休むことがあったらしいので、誰も不審には思わなかったようです。
明日さ、10時くらいになったら市役所のふりして電話してみましょうかね。在宅を確認してみてください。
10時ですね。了解っす。
Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this, he'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family had disappeared. There was only one leader left, Oryo Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Alive and well, I mean. Or had she...
園崎美音が言うには体調を崩して寝込んでるんだそうです。
本当に寝込んでるのかな。顔と脈を見てみたいですね。
まったくっす。
The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke.
大井さん、園崎本家と古出神社の捜査令状、申請通ると思います？
Oishi didn't respond, exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke, his surroundings now as foggy as his mind. So, one angle I've been thinking about this in, just very, like, among a lot of other possibilities, is if Shion is the killer, or at least the person responsible for getting rid of Rika and Kimiyoshi. I don't know if she would be, but if she was, I feel like she could potentially benefit from that as a Sonozaki. Because, I don't know, I might be like super overthinking this, but I feel like the reason why she would have wanted Keiichi to see the things he saw, like really wanted him to see that stuff, was to like throw Mion under the bus a little bit and kind of like throw suspicion on her. And she was also encouraging Keiichi, possibly in a maybe manipulative way, to tell Oishi about all the stuff he saw. So, I don't know. I mean, it was Keiichi's idea first, so she didn't bring it up, but I don't know. It could be that he's just kind of wrapped around her little finger and she's kind of manipulating him to do exactly what she wants, but I don't know. That's just one possibility. I don't have a good enough read on her to say that that's necessarily the case yet, but if she were a suspect, then that would probably be her motivation to probably like take over as the Sonozaki main house or whatever. Because Mion is the current successor, and she currently has no real standing in the family, so if she wanted to take over the whole family, then that would be how to do it, I would think. So, from the scrapbook 10, let's check that out. The Hidden Demon. The inhabitants of Inamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon is treated as very sacred. I wonder if that character, or demon, when they say that, I wonder if that character is Oni, or I don't know. For example, usage of the character in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families. I can't really think of any names that have Oni in it. So I don't know if that's actually... Oh, okay. Oryo is written with that character. Well, actually, no, that's a different character. But it does have kind of some of the same strokes. And kind of just like, you can see on the right, or on the left, it's got like that character kind of squished to the side with another piece added to the right. So that's... I don't really know exactly how kanji works, but that's definitely how, yeah, I don't know. This, and only this, is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains that in her name, with Mi being written as that. It also goes for Oryo's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as something else. Or no, it was written as that, and it has that character in it, kind of. Though it was changed afterwards to something else, but still read as Akane. So in other words, she... I don't know. Was she the one who changed it, or maybe they changed it, like her family changed it because they were disowning her? I don't know. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character, the Mayor Kiichiro's name, originally meant demon, which can also be read as Ki. It should be said that names using the character aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version of that. Huh. I don't really see that. Oh, wait, yeah, I see it. Never mind. It's really tiny, the triangular piece. It's in the tiny part of the little bottom L. I don't know how to describe that, really. If you write it in reverse and top to bottom as, that, it clearly resembles that character. As for the Furude family, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune teller can be written without interval characters as that. So they just kind of add a stroke to the left, or make that stroke longer. I think with the addition of a demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character, that, and that, became the character that is used in their name now. This really doesn't translate to spoken speech at all. Also, I am really rambling today. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written that, I can't find any reference to the character that, perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and Sono, written as that, probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs enclosed by four sides. Yeah, so her name basically means slicing up human bodies, which is definitely not surprising given the imagery that they've been pushing this entire chapter with the knife and the cannibalism and all that. I don't know. I just have a feeling that that's going to come to a head at some point. I think, in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. And finally, request denied. Oh, I guess they don't get their search warrants after all.
あ、お疲れ様です。
どうです？何か手がかりはありました？
The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of Watanagashi.
課長、若い子から交代で仮眠取らせてあげてください。ここからは長丁場になりますからね。無理せず、体を休めながらのんびり行きましょう。
みんなには交代で休めって言ってるんだけどね。みんな遠慮してなかなか休んでくれないんだよ。お医者さんからも言ってくれないか。
ありゃありゃ。みんな遠慮しないでいいんですよ。小宮山君、若い子から順に交代で休ませてあげてください。
小宮山さん、そうしてあげてください。
After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat.
で、課長、例の請求なんですけど、まだダメそうです。
第一、村人の噂だけなんでしょ。もっと具体的な証拠がなければ難しいよ。
その証拠があの中に詰まってるかもしれないんですよ。
その証拠が中に詰まっているという証拠が必要なんだよ。
課長、なぞなぞやってるんじゃないんですよ。死んだ2人を含む4人が渡流しの晩に西宮殿と呼ばれる禁断の蔵に無断で入り込み、それを何者かが見ていた。
Oh, they want a search warrant for the forbidden warehouse, which of course they're not gonna get. Nobody's gonna get that. But I guess that could, like, straight up, that would be a place where they could easily just stash bodies and nobody would ever find them.
ここまでは信頼できる情報なんです。
情報と言ったってあくまでも噂だよ。証拠があるわけじゃない。
そりゃまあ、4人が放火無理して忍び込む写真はありませんがね。とにかく4人は西宮殿の中で何かを見たんです。
消されるくらいの何か？それは何だい？
That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place.
園崎家絡みの闇市場関係が有力候補ですな。拳銃とかご金製の品とか。園崎家の隠し資産ってのも捨てがたいあたりです。
I have no idea what a tokarev is, or a poppy production facility. I have no idea what that means. Probably slang for some kind of weaponry, but I don't know.
大石さん、気持ちはわかるけど、あの西宮殿ってのは古出神社にある神聖な建物で、地元の人間への相当な配慮が必要な建物なんだよ。
I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down?
とにかく相当の証拠がない限り西宮殿の捜査令状は取れないよ。園崎本家への令状も同じだ。特に園崎本家への捜査は四課と県警の暴対が絡んでる。入念な事前調整がいるんだ。
調整がいるってんなら私直接乗り込んでつけてきてもいいですよ。四課長はしげちゃんでしょう。暴対は三階さん。隣の雀荘で話した方が早そうなメンツですね。
課長にお客様です。
Pushing the employee who guided him in right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, given his crested kimono and hakama. Did he not get enough of this over the phone?
わしは議員の園崎じゃ。責任者を出さんか。
Well, we finally have a voice for him.
はよせい。どうも。私が課長の高杉でございます。お前の名刺なぞいらんわ。それにお前だけでは足らん。大石とかいう男も呼ばんか。神聖な古出神社に捜査令状なんぞを請求しよった罰当たり者じゃ。 申し訳ございません。大石はただいま捜査に出ておりまして、なかなか連絡がつきにくく、私が代わって受けたまわりますので、どうぞおかけください。
The chief's eyes were telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room.
よいか。古手神社はそもそも公暦2600年に次ぐ2500年の歴史を有する神聖にして犯すべからずの聖地なのじゃ。八百万の神々とお社様と先祖の霊を祀り、日が昇りてから沈むまでそれを土足で踏みにじろうというバカがいる。そもそも信仰の自由は憲法で定められた国民の最も尊い権利であろうが、こんなものは断じて許せんぞ。わしを怒らせてただで済むと思わん方がいいぞ。
Yeah, they're not gonna get that warrant. That's not really surprising at all. I mean, if anything surprising, it's the fact that they're actually trying. I mean, I get that Oishi probably is doing everything he can, though. I still can't shake a feeling about him. I don't know what it is, but I just can't shake the feeling that something about him is not great. Like something... I don't know. I don't know what exactly it is, but I just get a bad feeling about him. Anyway, let's continue. We spent 20 minutes on those tips. We didn't really need to. I saw a ceiling I was familiar with. Though I was groggy from sleep, I did notice that I was in my futon, like I was every morning. I looked at my clock, and despite having turned in so late last night, I'd awoken at precisely the same moment I always did. I'm so low on sleep, but I guess you really can get up at the same time every day. The secrets of the human body never ceased to amaze me. If I went back to sleep like this, I would definitely not be waking up again. I spurred myself on and slipped out of my futon. Mom asked me about last night at breakfast. Apparently we too had gotten a call asking if we knew where Rika-chan and Satoko were, and Mom vaguely understood that something serious was happening.
じゃあ、昨夜はお友達とみんなで夜遅くまで探してたの？3時くらいまでかな。うん。結局見つかったの？そのリカちゃんとサトコちゃんは。
I warily bit into my toast. It really didn't have any taste. That's gonna be either Reina or Mion. Probably not Shion. I looked up at the clock and saw that it was about 5 minutes past my regular meeting time with Reina. It was her at the door.
おはよう。少しは眠れたかな。
何時間寝れたんだろうな。多分鶏の足でも数えられるくらいだと思う。
Rena seemed pretty sleep-deprived as well. There was something missing from her usual spirit.
学校行くか。
うん。その方がね、きっといいと思うの。
She said, smiling, albeit stiffly. Rena was probably worrying her heart out about those two as well. Even so, she wanted to go to school.
今日お休みしたら、きっとケイチ君は病んで寝込んじゃうと思う。私、そんなの嫌だから。だから、一緒に学校に行こ
う。わかった。ちょっと待っててくれ。すぐ支度するから。
I was just a little bit happy about Rena mustering that much consideration for me. We went to the place where we'd usually meet up with Mion, but she was nowhere to be found. We were a little bit late today, so we thought she'd be waiting for us.
みーちゃん、 さすがに今日は起きられないかもね。
Yeah, she probably got even less sleep.
あ、そうか。あいつにとっては昨日だけじゃないんだよな。一昨日の晩も村長さんを探して徹夜してるんだよな。
We waited for a bit. Time passed until it got to the point where it was okay for us to go on alone, and we exchanged
どう
glances.
する？もう少し待つか？
At that point, my brain, which had finally been woken up by the morning air, recalled the ominous words Oishi-san had left me with last night. The leaders of the three families were disappearing one after the other. And next, it might be the Sonozaki's leader. Could Mion have... No, that couldn't be. No, because she's not the leader just yet.
行こう。今日は寝かせておいてあげようよ。
Rena gave me a pat on the back.
ミオン、本当にいるよな。
ん？何か言ったかな？
あ、いや、独り言。行こうぜ。
The two of us headed to school by ourselves. On the way, we saw a bunch of our classmates accompanied by their parents. It even looked like some of them were being taken to school by car. Surprisingly, the principal was also standing watch at the school gate. I'd never seen that before.
おはようございます。
おはようございます。
The principal was bowing to our classmates' guardians. The wooden sword leaning next to him was a little ominous.
前原くん、おはよう。竜宮くん、おはよ
おはようございます。
う。先生から大切なお話があるから、すぐに教室に入るように。いいかね？
Rena and I said nothing. The madness that only existed at night had finally crawled out into the sunlight. That's what it felt like. The hushed conversations that had been spreading for a while now all disappeared like an illusion the moment our teacher walked in the door. Silence dominated the classroom. The principal came in with our teacher as well. This was clearly not a normal morning.
まず、校長先生から大切なお話があります。校長先生、どうぞ。
The principal cleared his throat and approached the dice. I don't know what that is. Dice.
もう知っている生徒もおるだろう。
The classroom was dead silent. Everyone was staring at Rika-chan and Satogo's empty seats. The principal briefly and simply declared that Rika-chan and Satogo had gone missing. There wasn't a single person in the classroom who didn't already know. There seemed to be many, however, who couldn't accept it as the truth. It's very weird, though, that Satoko also went missing. It either means that she's responsible, or whoever, took Rika from her home. Well, no, there was no signs of it being broken into, so I don't know. I think it's definitely... Actually, yeah, we know that they both went somewhere on their bikes, so... Clearly, I think Satogo's literally the only possible suspect for Rika here. It had been confirmed to them by now, it had been confirmed to them now by the principal's words. There were sobs throughout the classroom, and I heard a kid crying. They steadily spread throughout the whole room. Well, looks like, Keiji won't be able to keep his promise to those two underclassmen of his. The big-hearted principal wasn't able to keep his cool either.
はい、皆さん注目注目。今日から当分の間、登下校は保護者の方と一緒に行います。
I assume she's only talking about the younger students. I don't think there's really any need for that for Rina and Keiji.
保護者の方の都合がつきにくい生徒は集団での登下校とします。
Luckily, they already do come in groups.
プリントを作りましたので、よく読み、保護者の方にも必ず見せてください。いいですね。
The teacher's voice was a little abrasive. Not even she could conceal the strain she felt from this unprecedented, abnormal situation. They should have just cancelled school today. However, Rena told me that the school was also like a nursery for the students whose parents both worked, so some of them wouldn't want school to be cancelled.
では授業を始めます。委員長はお休みですね。では日直号令起立。
That feeling of wanting to maintain an everyday atmosphere, even if only in school, precisely because our lives had been messed up, was something that I agreed with at this point. As for the teacher, who always had her lunch in the staff lounge, she ate in the classroom today. I had to laugh at her curry bento, which was just a rumor until now, but there was nobody to laugh with me. Rena brought her chair and lunch over to my seat. Today, it was only the two of us. The fact that we didn't need to drag any other desks over was sad.
眠いね。
ああ、でももうそんなに気にならなくなったよ。むしろ今寝れるくらいのずぶとい神経が羨ましい。
そうかもね。
I was sleepy this morning, but my drowsiness had dissipated after coming to school and constantly feeling the incredible tension. Rena's bento box didn't have its usual luster. That was to be expected. Rena was up for a long time last night, too. She wouldn't have had time to make her lunch beforehand. Since it's not like she would have gotten up early this morning.
遠慮なくつっつけよ。今日は素直に俺の弁当の方が立派なのを認めろ。
じゃあ遠慮なくいただくね。ああ、しそチーズのちくわ巻きなんて面白いな。
レナのだって今日のはレトルトだろうけどなかなかうまいぞ。
I realized the two of us were desperately trying to brighten the afternoon mood to its usual level as much as we could. I looked around the classroom, and it seemed like we were the only ones trying to do so, surrounded as we were by gloominess.
こうして二人だけでお弁当をつつき合ってると、なんだかなんだかだよね。
Our laughter grew quieter. I was the first one to mess
ご
up.
めん。悪かった。
いいよ。仕方ないよ。
Our chopsticks both stopped moving. We couldn't keep it up anymore.
リカちゃんとサトコ、どこに行ったんだろうな。
Those words might have sounded too miserable. Everyone was thinking it, using roundabout ways to address the topic, but I came right out and said it. I heard Rena catch her breath.
昨日ね、ケイチ君がいなくなってる間にいろいろと話を聞いてたから、レナの知ってる限りを話すね。
昨夜はすまなかった。頼む。
At that time, since they had arrived for support, Rena was helping the Ladies' Society cook the miso soup we'd had. They reported all the information the villagers had gathered, and Rena said she overheard it.
でも結局何もわからなかったんだろう。学校が終わってから家に帰って、二人で自転車に乗ってどこかへ行ったらしいということ以外は全く。
Mion had told me yesterday. We had no clues.
警察の人も家に帰ってからすぐに自転車で遊びに行ったんだろうって言ってる。家に帰ってからすぐに自転車で遊びに行くところと言ったら町かもしれないでしょ。だから沖宮の町でいなくなったんじゃないかって結論になってるみたい。
I guess that's true. I mean, would they have taken their bikes if they were just going to somewhere in Hinamizawa? Probably not. I don't know exactly how big Hinamizawa is, but I don't think like they take their bikes to school or anything, so they probably would only take their bikes if they were going to Okinomiya.
警察は明るくなってから捜査範囲を沖宮にも広げるって言ってた。
town. It makes sense why we couldn't find them even though we searched all of Inamizawa then. Still, something didn't fit. I had no basis for thinking that, just a gut feeling. I revealed something to Rika-chan that was likely very important to her that day. No, you didn't really reveal anything to her that she didn't already know. Then, Rika-chan had told me to leave it to her. Well, if anything, the only thing you revealed to her was that you were struggling with the fear and anxiety of it all, and she wanted to help you. And then, what did she say? Alright, if she didn't work hard, then something bad might happen to the dog too, I think. With all the talk of dogs and cats, I still didn't have the faintest idea what she really meant, but it might have been Rika-chan's way of saying this was a race against time. Damn it. I'd selfishly pushed my anxiety on Rika-chan and tried to run away. When I thought about it, I shouldn't have run back then. I should have asked her more about the dogs and cats. The more I think back on it, I really screwed up. Anyway, I don't think Rika-chan was in a situation where she would just go off to play somewhere. Of course, I didn't have any evidence or conviction to base that on. It was just a hunch.
町なんかに行くわけないと思うんだ。
ケイチ君もそう思う？レナもそう思うよ。リカちゃんもサトコちゃんもひなみ沢でいなくなったに違いないの。
Well, if they went anywhere on their bikes in Inamizawa, it would probably be, like, somewhere remote. Somewhere not, like, somewhere like a forest or mountains. They did already check the dam construction site, so we know they're not there, but I don't know. I looked back at Rena, startled. I could hear the conviction in those words. Without replying to my gaze, she took her bento box and went to the hallway.
お弁当箱を洗ってくるね。
She timed that in a way that broke off the conversation. Suddenly, I got the feeling that the next thing she had to say would be hard to say aloud in the classroom. I hurriedly grabbed my bento box and followed her. Rena didn't go to the kitchenette, but rather to the water fountains out back, where students seldom went. The water flowed down onto our bento boxes. During that time, Rena didn't say a word. Then, after making sure there were no other students around, she finally opened her mouth to speak.
リカちゃんとサトコちゃんが町に遊びに行っていなくなったなんて、なんだか腑に落ちなくて、私なりにいろいろ聞いたり調べたりしたの。
聞いた？何を？
婦人会のおばさんたちにいろいろ。昨日のお味噌汁、お豆腐がいっぱい入ってたでしょ？富田豆腐店のおばあちゃんも来てたの。
The Tomita Tofu Shop. Oh, I remember. That was one of the stores on the road leading to the hospital. Tomita, that was the name of one of the students that, Keiji was befriending a while back. He was one of the two kids, so that's interesting. Those huge lumps of tofu dancing in the bathtub-like cistern always looked nice and refreshing.
おばあちゃんね、昨日学校の帰り道にさとこちゃんがお店に寄ってお豆腐を買っていったのを覚えてたの。
豆腐？学校の帰り道にだろ？それが何か手がかりになるのか？
いいから聞いて。リカちゃんの家に行った時のこと覚えてるかな？
Rena stepped away from the sinks and spread her arms wide to recreate the space of Rika-chan's room.
ガス台にお鍋がかけてあって、その中にお味噌汁が入ってたの。中にはお豆腐が多分一丁の半分くらい入ってたと思う。残りの半分は冷蔵庫の中にあったの。冷ややっこにするつもりだったんだね。お皿に開けてラップがかけてあった。
Okay, but I don't know how this helps us exactly. As Rena explained, she walked around as if she were really going through Rika-chan's
で
room.
もレナ、それが何だって言うんだ？
圭一くん、お味噌汁のお豆腐って本当に最後の最後に入れるんだよ。つまりお料理してたリカちゃんか、もしくはさとこちゃんはお夕飯の時間の直前まであそこに立って料理をしていたことになるの。
夕食の時間の直前まで。
Wasn't everyone saying that their bikes weren't around, so they must have gone somewhere to play by themselves?
三角コーナーのゴミを見たらすごく不吉祥だった。食事やお弁当はほとんどリカちゃんが作ってるんだけど、たまにね、さとこちゃんがすることもあるの。
So, based on the evidence, it seems like Satoko was the one cooking.
だからその晩はさとこちゃんがお料理したんだね。
それってつまりさとこに関しては遊びに行かず夕食の準備をしてたってことなのか？
So then Rika took Satoko's bike with her on her bike? I don't know. Or maybe somebody stole their bikes?
それで私、炊飯釜も見てみたの。炊飯釜には2人分のご飯が炊けていた。
ってことは2人分の夕飯は作ったけど2人とも夕飯は食べなかった、そういうことか？
Rana nodded.
それで次に冷蔵庫の中も見てみたの。そうしたら残り半分のお豆腐で作った冷ややっこがあったの。それだけじゃない。お夕飯用に作ったおかずも何皿かあって、それらにはみんなラップがされていた。
I really, really, really hope that they don't just pull some, like... And also, I found, like, Rika's severed hand or something. Or something like that. Because I really... Like, I know that they were, like, building up to the whole cannibalism thing, but... I'm just not gonna be happy if that actually happens. You usually plastic wrap things so that you can have leftovers for the next day. My mom does it all the time too, using them in breakfast or lunch.
そう。ラップって食べ残しとかを取っておくためにするものだよね。冷蔵庫に入れたということは、少なくともその晩のうちには食べないつもりだったということ。
そういうことになるのか？
Okay, wait, what was plastic wrapped? Chilled tofu made from the other half they bought. A whole bunch of plates with side dishes. So basically, that means that somebody... That means that either Satoko or Rika was there after one of the others was gone. Probably Satoko, who was there. And that means that, well, yeah, that's exactly what it means.
圭一君、もっとよく考えて。お夕飯を全く手つけずでラップしてあったんだよ。どういうことだと思
う？じゃあ夕食を食べる必要がなくなったわけだ。外食とか出前とかで。
それも突然にね。前もって決まっていたらお料理なんかしない。そしてお夕食は2人分用意されていた。つまりさとこちゃんは2人で食事ができると本当に直前までそう思って料理をしていたということなの。
じゃあ2人で遊びに行っていなくなったというのは間違いじゃないか。
そう。
But it may have been sudden, but they had time to wrap up their food, so... It wasn't too sudden. It was like... Just like a little sudden. Like something minor that happened.
つまりいなくなったのはお夕飯ができて夕食に至るまでの本当にわずかな時間。多分7時頃くらい。
そんな時間に食事もせずに2人はどこへ行ったんだ？
当然そこに行き着くよね。圭一君、覚えてるかな？折りたたみ机が置いてあって、その上にお醤油や箸立てなんかが置いてあったのを。
There might have been something like that. I didn't remember.
お醤油の小瓶ね、空っぽだったの。もう一滴も入ってなかった。これじゃあ冷ややっこは美味しくないよね。だから私、流しの下にある醤油の大瓶を探してみたの。
よくそんなところにあるって知ってるな。
私もリカちゃんの家に行ってお料理したことあったから。
Rena cleared her throat, her face returning to a serious expression.
でね、流しの下を開けてみたら醤油の大瓶が瓶ごとなかったの。
醤油の大瓶がないとどういう意味になるんだ？
ここから先は全部レナの想像だからね。だから最後まで口を挟まずに聞いていてね。
Last night, Satoko was making dinner like normal. Rika-chan usually watched TV until the food was ready, so she was probably lying down watching a variety show or something. Satoko put the tofu in the miso soup, and right when dinner was about to be ready, she noticed that they were out of soy sauce. So, Rika-chan, who had nothing to do, brought the big bottle of soy sauce to a neighbor's house to borrow theirs. I guess that makes sense.
俺、ご近所付き合いってよくわからないんだが、醤油なんかって分けてもらえるものなのか？
Oh, come on, it's Rika. Who would not be willing? She has her way of just getting what she wants. Like, yeah, she would be able to manage that.
うん。ひなみ沢ではそんなに珍しいことじゃないよ。
So, Rika-chan rode her bike out to get some soy sauce. No matter how long Satoko waited, though, Rika-chan didn't come back. So then Satoko-chan called up the house where Rika-chan was going. Would Rika happen to be imposing on you? Something like that. Then the other person must have replied with something like, That would make one of their neighbors suspicious, but I don't know, that seems a little too, like, random. Like, for a mystery story, like, you wouldn't expect the answer to be, and it was their random neighbor who is unnamed and we have not found out about until now. Like, it's almost always a named character. Which, then again, Tomita was definitely a name that we got earlier, so you never know.
きっとそんな感じで呼び出したんだと思う。
Satoko called Rika a few names in private and wrapped up the dinner she had made for them. She put it in the fridge so she could use it for breakfast and lunch the next day. Then Satoko got on her bike too, and headed for the house where Rika-chan was. That does sound believable.
でも、すでにこの時点でおかしいの。食事ってね、突然やってきた人に振る舞えるほど多めに作るものじゃないんだよ。
Yeah, it's definitely like whoever they went to. First of all, those people would have had to have lied because they would have been contacted during all this and they didn't say anything about it, so clearly that is either not what happened or they just those people are lying and they're actually the killers. A veteran housewife would never normally make so much food that she could feed 2 extra people.
それでも絶対に考えられない。
Rena flatly denied me.
だってリカちゃんはさとこちゃんが頑張って作ったお夕飯がもうできてることを知ってるんだよ。どんなにお夕飯を勧められたってさとこちゃんのお夕飯を無駄にするようなことをするわけがない。
This was all only circumstantial evidence and Rena's guesswork. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple this situation bereft of clues.
じゃあレナ、リカちゃんはどこへ醤油をもらいに行ったんだ?
That was the heart of it. It would have to be somewhere she'd be comfortable with asking for soy sauce, and somewhere Satoko wouldn't think it suspicious that she'd been invited for dinner. So, who was it? I mean, it could have been, Neon's grandmother, but I would hope not. Rena slowly shook her head.
レナの推理はここまで。あくまでも想像だからね。 警察の人とかには内緒にしておいてね。
隠すことはないんじゃないか。仮に半分しか会ってないとしても、きっとヒントにはなると思うぞ。
ケイチ君、これってひなみ沢の人を疑うって意味だよ。
Yeah, and there's where things kind of get awkward, because we're clearly, like, Keiichi is definitely more of an insider in Hinamizawa in this chapter than he was in the previous one, but their attitude of him will change drastically depending on what he does here.
確信もないのに村の人を疑えない。
I saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. Rena cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. Also, although I should have mentioned earlier, when I was talking about how it could be Shion who's the killer in all this, that was obviously, like, it was, like, presupposing the obvious guess of Mion, right? Like, but I don't think Mion is the killer. I think that the kind of, like, outburst she had when they were on the ladder, that definitely makes me think that Mion suspects Satoko as being the reason behind all this. Let's think about this in my own way. Rena had barely any information to go on, and yet she'd reasoned out that much. So there should be something only I, who knew far more than Rena did, could deduce. Oishi-san said this last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring within Hinamizawa. Rena might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone from the village. The trigger for everything was when the four of us trespassed into the forbidden storehouse. Somebody saw us going in there. For the culprits, breaking the taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Tomitake-san and Takano-san were sacrificed. There were two left. Shion and myself. However, before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor, to whom Shion had confessed her sin. Next, they went for Rika-chan, to whom I'd confessed my sin. Then what about Satoko? Just a stray bullet. By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I'd told her everything was mortifying. But Satoko was sacrificed for no reason. Wasn't that all the more regrettable? Everything was my fault. Who would be the next to disappear? Would it be Shion and me next time? Well, we know from last chapter that things don't necessarily have to follow the same pattern. For example, like, it's always one person who always dies on the night of the Watanagashi, and it's always one person who disappears. But this time, things are different, first of all. There were two people that died. But second of all, last time, Keiichi died a few days after, so... also, Mion and Rena also died, so I don't think that the number of people who die each time really matters. Why? Why weren't the culprits going for Shion and me right away, though? If they had enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, then why not just get rid of Shion and me? If they went for us, well, I wouldn't like it, but I could still tolerate it. What I couldn't forgive was them getting rid of those we'd confessed to. Now that I think of it, yesterday, Shion said something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. So then, with someone watching me as well. Strangely, though, I hadn't felt anything like that until now. Even though I'm the root cause of everything, I had never once had that impression. Maybe it was simply because Shion was more cautious than me and I was just careless. That's another story, though. I think it's safe to say that everybody's watching him, but it doesn't mean that he's necessarily on their radar, so to speak. Let's get back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me? I felt like that's where the key to this lay. Could it be? Was I making a big assumption that I shouldn't have been? Does the culprit even know that it was him who was there? I don't know. I thought and thought, but couldn't come up with an answer. The one thing I understood was that I was a concerned party to this case, and that I had a duty to watch over it until everything got resolved. I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of lunch break. Would somebody else disappear tonight? If nobody else did, then I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure. And then put an end to all this. Shion's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to mind. They planned to murder those close to us first, make us as miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us. At the principal's urging, I returned to the classroom, which was quiet as the streets at night. There were a lot of parents picking up their children after school. It was just like a kindergarten. The students whose parents didn't come went home as a group. We left school with everyone else, following the assigned route. Even while leaving, nobody said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers, silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left, and then another, and in the end it was just Rena and me. I was supposed to escort Rena all the way to her house, but she declined.
レナを送った後、一人で帰るケイチ君だって同じくらい不用心だよ。
So let's just both do something dangerous instead of only one. That makes sense.
まだ明るいんだもの。大丈夫。
そうか。じゃあ気をつけてな。
うん。あれ？あれ、警察の人じゃないかな。
Rena pointed towards my house. There was a car stopped in front of it. From out of that car came Oishi-san. Oh, great. I think the last thing we need is for Rena to see us with him. He must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. Oishi-san started walking over wearing that annoying grin.
Rena はもう行きな。あいつに絡まれると長い。
でも、どうして警察の人がケイチ君に用があるんだろう。
Rena's a good person. Even when I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. She could have been suspecting me ever since then, and that would have been okay. Even so, she still hadn't asked me anything. She didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth.
犯人じゃない。
そんなの知ってるよ。
でも、事件に何の関わりもないとは言い切れない。
Rena simply listened, smiling like she always did. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something dirty.
今度話すよ。
待ってるね。
See, this is a much more healthy way of keeping a secret from somebody compared to last time, where he would just get intimidated and just lie, and then she would see through it immediately, and I don't know. Like, it feels like Rena in this episode is not going to turn on us in this chapter. But, I mean, I could be completely wrong. Maybe, I don't know. But I feel like, at least so far in this chapter, there's no reason to believe Rena would turn on Keiji.
じゃあ、早く行きな。
Rena gave me a slight bow and trotted away, leaving me alone with Oishi-san, who walked over.
どうもどうも。お帰りなさい、前原さん。
どうも。
ご家族はお留守みたいですね。いやはや困っていたんですよ。
He came all the way to my house. I could only thank my good fortune that my parents were absent. Since neither of them was around at this hour, they would probably be back late.
親父の仕事の関係で出かけてるんだと思います。帰りは遅いと思いますよ。
そうですか。それは好都合です。親御さんに変な思いをさせずに済みます。
Oishi-san pushed my back, prompting me to walk. It seemed like he wanted me to get in the car.
警察に連行するんですか?
I wasn't the culprit, but I was the cause of everything. It wouldn't be weird if you wanted to investigate me. That kind of gave me a resigned feeling.
いえ、立ち話もなんですから、車の中でお話ししようってだけですよ。さあ、どうぞ。
He opened the back door and urged me inside. If I got in, I wouldn't have a very easy time getting out. If I said no, however, then this man might really handcuff me and take me away. I couldn't refuse, I could only accept in good grace. The inside of the car had been cooled too much by the air conditioner, and there was a rusty smell coming from the filter, which must have been cleaned only rarely. He turned off the engine, and it suddenly became quiet, and the voices of the Higurashi, with all their cool loneliness, snuck inside. It sounded to me like a chorus of voices lamenting my exorbitant punishment for having harbored such foolish curiosity. For a few moments, while listening to those voices, I myself lamented the days that had been twisted and distorted since that night. Oishi-san, as if waiting for me to voluntarily begin talking, lit a cigarette and listened to the Higurashi. The silence became deafening, and I was the one who fooled it first.
捜査の方はどうなってるんですか?
捜査? 何のですか? 最近はいっぱいありすぎてどれのことやら.
I mean, everything, obviously.
全部です。
いいですよ。本当は報道管制の敷かれた秘密捜査なんですが、あなたには特別に聞かせてあげましょう。じゃあ、最初の事件からいきます。
The freak deaths of Tomitake-san and Takano-san on the night of Watanagashi.
こっちはお恥ずかしいかな。さっぱり進展なしです。まずは富武さん、集団で暴行を受けた形跡はあるのですが、自分の喉をかき破るなんて異常な死に方の説明がつかないんです。
Okay, so that's the same as last time.
何らかの薬物中毒を疑っているんですが、検出はされませんでした。
高野さんはどんな感じなんです?
We suspect an overdose from a stimulant or something, but we didn't detect anything. Right, so that's also the same as last time.
同じくさっぱりです。焼死死体は検視が非常に困難でして、首を絞められた後にガソリンをかけられたんじゃないかと見ています。管轄がお隣の県警さんでね。あちらさん、自分たちの縄張りの事件だからって、おっと、これは関係ない話ですね。
So, the police don't know anything other than the fact that the victims died
で
inexplicably.
すが、犯行時間はおおむねお祭りが終わった直後だろうと見ています。高野さんの方はちょっとあやふやですが、富武さんとほぼ同じ時刻に殺害され、岐阜の山中に遺棄されたと考えるのが妥当でしょうな。
どうしてわざわざ遠くの山まで死体を運んだんでしょう。富武さんも同じように遠くへ運べばよかったのに。
ありゃ、前原さん、あなたなかなかどうして鋭いですね。もちろん私もそこは注目すべき点だと思っていますよ。他にもいくつか不審点はありますが、まあ現時点でお話しできるのはこのくらいです。
村長さんの方はどうですか？何か手がかりはありましたか
？Having exhausted that topic, I changed the subject. Otherwise, he might turn the conversation on me.
失踪された一日の足取りを調べました。手がかりになるようなものは見つかりませんでしたが、一応お話ししましょうか。
The mayor, Ch2 Kimiyoshi. Apparently he was suffering from severe hemorrhoids. Alright, did we really need to know that?
古い生まれの方って非常にプライドが高いんですよね。それで村長さん、誰にも内緒で獅子骨市内にある大学病院の肛門科に通われていたんです。
This sounds made up.
失踪当日、村長さんは診察の予約が取ってあったんで、朝一で出かけられました。
Oh, going to a proctologist. I was gonna say, I thought it said that he was going to be a proctologist. Like he was studying to become one. It made no sense. Even I knew that big hospitals, like university hospitals, had a really long waiting time. Apparently people would get in line for hours beforehand, even if they had an appointment.
診察が終わったのは午後1時頃です。その後、病院内のレストランで軽食を取られ、雑誌を読みながら時間を潰されました。この辺りのことは、自宅にあったお財布の中のレシートで分かってます。
There was nothing suspicious at all about
そ
that.
の日は夕方から神社の集会場で会合の予定があったんです。それで余裕を持ってお帰りになるはずだったんですが、途中電車で人身事故がありましてね。どうもそれで足止めを食ってしまったらしく、家に着いたのは会合の時間の直前でした。ご家族が大慌てで神社の集会場に出かけていく村長さんを目撃しています。
会合ってのは何だったんですか？確かその会合の帰り道に失踪してるんですよね。
会合は御三家と町会の主要役員が集まってのものでした。今年も起こってしまった連続開始事件の対応について協議したものと思われます。
The essential members of the town assembly and the three families. So that means Rika would have had to be there. She would have had to have been there. Come to think of it, I feel like that was a time where we actually saw, like, Rika say something like, oh, I can't do club activities because I'm busy or something on that day. I feel like that happened. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. So then, on his way home, the old man who had treated Shion like his own daughter, he was a dependable person who would encourage Shion whenever she felt pressured by anxiety, and yet Shion's painful voice struck me right in the heart. I was taken aback by how strange my own voice sounded. What was it that just surprised me? I squeezed my head with my hands to try and drag back out what I had only realized for a split second. Remember, Keiji Maibara, you just realized something. I don't know what he realized. Maybe about Shion being pressured by anxiety? Something important. The night of Watanagashi. That was when everything started. That night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died. The next morning, word of the incident had spread throughout Hinamizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor, however, had an appointment at the hospital, and as planned, he went there without telling his family. He got a checkup at the hospital, ate something, and then there was an unexpected delay on his train ride back. I wonder if he actually ate at Angel Mod, and that's where his receipt was from. That would mean that he potentially met up with Shion. When he returned, the meeting was already about to start. The mayor changed clothes, got on his bicycle, and hurried to the assembly hall of the shrine as fast as he could. From when he heard about the incident on the night of the Watanagashi, until when he showed up to the assembly hall, everything he was doing that day was done in secret. During that time, nobody found out that he went to the hospital alone. He ate alone. And he got on the train alone. That all meant he had absolutely no contact with anyone else. You couldn't have even called him on the phone. Well, I don't think that really has to do with anything, because I'm pretty sure that, I don't think that Shion said that she specifically called him that day, or spoke to him that day. Wait, actually. Hold on, she might have, if she said it. Actually, yeah, okay. So if she said it, then it would have been when he went to eat at Angel Mod, when she confided in him. But, I don't know. That would be a weird place to do it, because it's in public. Okay, but what does that mean, Keiji Maibara? Why does that matter, Keiji Maibara? Ah.
ケイちゃん、私
どうした話せよ。俺たちの間で隠し事はなしだろ。
君吉のおじいちゃんに打ち明けたんです。
I told him everything. I told old man Kimiyoshi everything. Like, yeah, I get it. That she wouldn't have had many opportunities to do so, but I don't think that she wouldn't have had any. I think that there were plenty of chances that she could have met up with him. I don't think that's a huge thing to suspect her for. That night. Okay, so she said so she told him that night. So that doesn't really conflict with anything that he just said. Hold on. That night, they died. The next morning, word of the incident had spread throughout Hinamizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor had an appointment at the hospital, yada yada. Ate something. There was an unexpected delay on his train ride back, which didn't really... That shouldn't really matter. That probably just has to do with train scheduling. So, I don't know, I don't see what he's getting at here. Although, actually, yeah. The idea that somebody saw us and was out to get us, she wouldn't have known that at the time. She wouldn't have known that Tomitake and Takano were dead, unless she knew way more than she was letting on. So yeah, that actually is a good catch.
Ah, それで?
君吉のおじいちゃん、怒らなかった。そして、にっこり笑って、しおちゃんがちゃんと反省してるなら、鬼隠しになんかなるものかって、本当に笑いながら、任せなさいって。
Sweat burst out of my body like bullets. They became one long strand and slid down from my forehead to my nose and fell. So then, what does it mean? Hey, Keiji Maibara, no more playing dumb. When did she tell him? Shion said she learned of the incident from a phone call her father had made that morning. Yeah, so either that was a lie, and she actually knew about it beforehand, or the fact that she said that she told him the night before was a lie. The mayor had left the house first thing in the morning for his appointment at the hospital. He didn't tell anybody where he was going. Nobody knew about him going to the university hospital. Furthermore, his train ride back to his house was delayed by an accident. As soon as he got home, he rushed down to the assembly hall. Then the meeting at the assembly hall began, and continued until it was dark out. Then everyone left. Nobody saw him after the meeting was over. He just disappeared. Which meant...
前原さん、大丈夫ですか？やっぱり暑いならクーラー入れますよ。
Another part of me was messing with my thoughts, demanding that I didn't think any farther than that. My head was pounding violently and the fluids packed inside it, all blended together until nothing made sense. It was just about to settle, yet it had been smashed and melted in the blink of an eye, no longer able to retain its shape. Okay, so Shion has at least... she's confirmed now to have told at least one lie to us. We don't know exactly what it was, which part was the lie, but she has told at least one lie.
前原さん、もしもし。
はい。
Oishi-san lit yet another cigarette. There was yet another cigarette butt placed in the ashtray. Was it displaying the passage of time? Had my thoughts been frozen over for that long?
私、知ってる限りのことを話したつもりです。お返しに、今度は前原さんの話を聞かせてもらってもいい？
My mind had become a gigantic oozing mess. My brain felt like it had been totally minced by the blades of a blender, and I couldn't think.
ほらほら、また黙り込む。もし誤解があるようなら先に解いておきたいんですがね。私は別にあなたが犯人だなんて思っちゃいないんです。
Oichi-san gave his best attempt at an adult
こ
smile.
の晩、あなたたち4人が西宮殿に忍び込んだことは知っています。次の日にはもう村の知る人は誰でも知る噂になってましたからね。それ自体は不法侵入として問われるべきことですが、問題はそれじゃない。そこで何があったかなんです。忍び込んだ人間が次々と犠牲になるような何があったのか。
何もなかったです。
As soon as I said it, I regretted confirming my presence there, but I knew it didn't matter anymore.
本当に何もなかったんですか？だって現にこうして中に入った人たちが次々と犠牲になってるんですよ。しかも扉の鍵を付け替えた村長やリカさんまで犠牲に。それだけの事態を引き起こす何があの中にあったんです？
I was far too tired of keeping quiet about this. Perhaps that was Oishi-san's goal all along, but again, that didn't matter
大
anymore.
昔に使った拷問道具がたくさんしまってありました。それを高野さんたちと見て回りました。
本当にそれだけ？
本当にそれだけです。
口封じをされるようなとんでもないものが隠してあったんじゃないですか？例えば覚醒剤の山とか消しの秘密工場があったとか、あるいはソ連か中国あたりの拳銃が山ほど積まれていたと。不審な木箱やコンテナが山積みされてませんでしたか？
There was nothing as exaggerated as what Oishi-san was hoping for, but I felt like in a way there were plenty of terrible things hidden in there. From the perspective of somebody who viewed the storehouse as sacred, whether or not I thought I had seen some crazy things didn't matter in the slightest. The four of us broke the taboo. Punish us. That should have been what happened.
あの西宮殿に何か秘密があるんじゃないかと思って、もう空前絶後の妨害工作がありまして、信仰の対象に対する侮辱であり、憲法で定めた信仰の自由をなんたらかんたら。いやもう、だから実際に入ったあなたに聞くほかはなかったんですよ。
本当に古い錆びて埃をかぶった拷問道具しかなかったです。他に目立つものなんて何もなかったです。
では富武さんたちが殺されたのは禁忌を破ったからという制裁だけなんですかね。
I mean, that is how it seems, although we don't know what they did in there when they were alone. They could have taken something, they could have... Like, there's a lot of things that could have happened that we don't know about. I didn't have an answer for the only part.
もういちいち隠しませんけどね。あなただけが今日まで被害を免れてるんです。あなた以外は全員が消えたのに、あなただけが無事なんです。
Wait, Shion disappeared? That can't be right. Well, maybe he doesn't know about her. No, he would, because he saw her with us.
あなたが無事で、あなた以外が被害に遭う。どんな違いがあったのか、それが知りたいんです。
There was something wrong with what Oishi-san was saying. You alone. You alone. What?
ちょっと待ってください。あなただけがってどういう意味ですか？
ですから、あなただけが最後の生き残りなんじゃないですか。西宮殿に忍び込んだコソ泥4人組の。
This feels like it could be a trick. Like just a bluff on Oishi's part, just to get us to confirm that Shion went in there. The only one left alive. Hold on. Shion was still...
この晩に富武二郎さんと高野美代さんが死に、翌日園崎紫音さんが失踪しました。
Oh. So then the person who called wasn't Shion, it was actually Mion. I think. No, but... No, because we were with Shion at the library. Weren't we? Actually, come to think of it, Keiichi has never called her. Has she? Or has he? It's always been her that's called him. So, he doesn't really know who called him. It could have been Mion the entire time.
あなただけが無事に今日までを過ごしてるんです。なぜあなただけなのか、私はそれが知りたいと言ってるんです。
シオンが失踪したって？そんなバカな。
I unintentionally raised my voice. But I didn't care about that. Tomitaki-san died, Takano-san died, and Shion disappeared. When did she disappear? What is this guy talking about?
特にご存知だったとばかり。
そんなのは初めて聞いた。シオンが失踪した？いつ？
遡ると綿流しの次の日に失踪していたことになります。
Going back a bit. Stop saying stuff I don't understand.
園崎紫音さんはその日の気分で親類の家を泊まり歩いたりしますので、所在不明が当たり前なんですよ。学校も気分一つでよく休みますしね。先生も困り果ててました。
そんなことは聞いてない。シオンはいつ失踪したかって聞いてるんだ。
ですから綿流しの次の日です。
The fluids in my body all reversed direction. I lost my sense of balance, and everything I could see started to warp and twist out of shape. I simply couldn't endure it. Hang on. Hang on. Shion had already disappeared. Then that night, that call, that phone call, who was that? I think there's no way it was Mion, right? That doesn't just... I don't know. Like, I feel like nothing she said was really anything that made her seem like she was Mion. She seemed like Shion to me, but then again, we know that she was lying, so... Or in that conversation, we know that she was lying. Could it be that Oishi is the one lying here? Maybe Oishi lied about, Kimiyoshi's, actions, and maybe he also lied about, about her disappearing. I don't know. She called me every night. She encouraged me. We vowed that we would do our best to live on and not be erased. Yes, that should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion.
学校は平気で休むし、それを自宅に知らせても取り合ってもらえないから、そんなこんなで彼女が失踪したことに気づくのにだいぶ時間がかかったんですよ。
I felt a stabbing pain like needles were being pushed into every pore of my body. It started on my back and began spreading throughout the rest of me. When it had completely covered the surface of my skin, it began to worm its way inside my stomach as well.
覚えてませんか？綿流しの次の日に私たち図書館でお会いしたでしょう。あの時シオンさんもいましたよね。
Yeah, exactly. So...
あれが最後の目撃なんです。
Okay, so that was actually her.
あの後、彼女の所在は確認されてないんです。
そんなバカな。そんなバカな。
That day, Oishi-san had only caught me, and Shion bounded away, lying that she needed to go to work. Unless that wasn't her, and the reason why she left was because she didn't want Oishi to suspect that it wasn't her, and it was actually Mion. But, I don't know. I think I'm way overthinking that. This whole, like, Schrodinger's Mion/Shion thing is really, like... There's really no way to really know. For sure. It's just gonna be something where I have to put it all together at the end, and try and figure out everything based on the context of everything, all together. Like, right now we just don't have enough info. Didn't she call me that night?
エンジェルモートっていうファミレスのバイトですよね。あの日から無断欠勤です。今日に至るまで全てを無断欠勤してるんです。お店の人も連絡を取ろうにも取れず困りきってましたよ。
I also think now that he knows that her job was at Angel Mod. I wonder if the reason why he went to Angel Mod and took Keiichi there before was because he wanted Shion to hear him, or he wanted these, like, that's when he was, like, talking about Mion and all that as well. So I think that he wanted that conversation to be known in order to provoke a response, something that he could catch, potentially.
そんなバカな。そんなバカな。
状況証拠だけですがね。図書館でお別れしてからバイト先に向かうまで、この間に失踪したと考えるのが妥当でしょうね。
Right after Shion ran away without me.
ご存知なかったみたいですね。なら、先に話せばもっと話が早かったかな。もうこれでご理解いただけたでしょう。あとはあなただけなんです。あなただけが西宮殿に忍び込んだ4人の生き残りなんです。
It couldn't be. It just couldn't be.
何か起こるとすれば、それはあなたなんです。
I mean, that really only leaves Mion as the major suspect if what he's saying is true. But, I don't know.
前原さん、どうかご理解を。
It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. Shion had already disappeared. That couldn't be. It couldn't be. I talked to her the day before yesterday. I talked to her last night. She was going to call me again today. That was Shion on the phone. Shion on the phone. It was from Shion. From Shion.
シオンさんはとっくに失踪してるんです。次はあなたなんですよ。
Then who was on the phone those past nights? It really feels like Oishi is specifically trying to get under Keiichi's skin. And I don't know if he's just doing that because he has some ulterior motive, or if he's doing that because he just wants to shake things up and, you know, shake the tree, see what falls out, as it were. Who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights?
そんな。
Are they just gonna end it there? Or... no, okay. We're keeping going. I lay down on the couch and stayed there, dazed for a while. My mind was completely blank. I couldn't think about anything for more than a few seconds. There was a note in my house saying that Mom and Dad would be home late and that I should have some ramen or something for dinner. I could make it whenever I got hungry, but I had no appetite, so I just stared blankly at the ceiling without eating anything. Now, the big question is going to be, will she call again? And if it is Mion, does she know that we know now that Shion is missing? Because if not, then we can maybe turn the tables on her and try to get her to slip up, but I don't know. That could backfire. The hands of the clock were already pointing at 10. Would I get another phone call like that today? Even though Shion had already disappeared. Would she still call me? Where were they calling from, and who were they? The more I thought about it, the more I started to tremble. I even thought about just disconnecting the phone line. If I had been thinking a little less logically, I really would have done it, too. Hold on, Keiichi, my butter. Oishi-san admitted it himself, didn't he? That Shion went missing a lot. Couldn't she have just gone to relatives that Oishi-san didn't know about and have been there ever since? Shion and I were both being targeted by somebody, so it wouldn't be strange to think she went somewhere she usually didn't in order to hide. That must have been why Oishi-san couldn't locate her, and why he labeled her a disappearance. Yeah, that had to be it. I mean, it is a possibility. We can't discount it. Shion hadn't disappeared at all. Then my right hand moved of its own volition and slapped me on the cheek. It's one of many possibilities, one that we should take into account, but not also ignore the possibility that it's not true. Its cold sting let me calm down a little. I knew I didn't want to admit she had disappeared. Admitting it would mean that something terrifying was definitely happening. I just needed to figure out whether Shion was the one on the phone or not. Would I ask her if she was actually Shion? No, that would be stupid. That seemed like an incredibly absurd thing to do. If the person on the other end still believed that I thought she was Shion, then that gave me a tiny advantage. See, I'm so glad. I'm always so glad when I'm thinking something, and then Keiichi actually acts on that thought. And yeah, and I know it's not going to work out because it never does, but it still makes me glad that I'm thinking along the right lines, at least. Casually, completely casually, I would listen to what she had to say, and fend her off. I would tear the skin off the monster. It would definitely be really scary for me. However, as the last survivor of the people who went into the storehouse that night, this was my duty to perform. Still, then who? Who would call me and pretend to be Shion? It has to be Mion, if anybody. There's literally nobody else it could be. I mean, granted, imitating a voice isn't that hard, but especially over the phone, but I think it has to be Mion. I may have only heard her over the phone, but her voice shouldn't be that easy to replicate. That was definitely Shion's voice. It sounded just like her. Could have only been Shion. There was someone, though, wasn't there? Someone who sounded just like Shion. Mion. Mion, who else could have done this? At this point, seriously, after all this time, all those little things that didn't quite make sense about Mion until now overwhelmed my mind. The problem with just assuming that Mion is behind everything is that outburst that she had while we were on the ladder. That seemed genuine, and I don't know what was up with that. She definitely seems to... I don't know. I really don't know. like being questioned about sneaking into the ritual storehouse and how she shook the ladder while spouting curses. Who else? Who else could have? Why, though? Why would Mion? I thought back to the things about the Sotozaki family that I had heard from Oishi-san and Shion. Mion was always entangled in the incidents, in a position where she was omnipotent. Some of that information included things that Shion had told me after she disappeared. I madly scratched at my head. Courage. Give me the courage. Just a little bit of courage to pick up the phone. I know it will ring tonight. It would be so easy to run away. That, though, would be the same as making it easier for them to erase me. It would be very disconcerting if she were to suddenly show up in person, though. Like, that'd be like one-upping him, like just one-upping him on the chessboard there. I cannot run. I must stand up and face it. After all, the next sacrifice would definitely be me. I was sure Shion would use tricky words to try and trap me. Be careful, be careful. I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. Oh, there it is. At that point, it rang. The phone rang and I didn't know where the call was coming from. Unfortunately, we don't have a plan, so we're just gonna have to wing it, and I don't know how good Keiichi's gonna be at that. But let's have a little faith, shall we? Shion had disappeared. Disappeared a long time ago. Disappeared the night after Watanagashi. Yet, until today, she had been calling me like nothing happened. Now again, tonight. The people that had disappeared, their corpses simply haven't been found. I really didn't think they were alive. So if it really was Shion on the other end, did that mean she was calling me from another world? Of course that couldn't be. A living being was calling me, pretending to be Shion. We also just have to consider the possibility that Oishi was lying, and that Shion did not disappear. That it really was Shion who was calling us. Shion was long gone, and yet as though she were alive and well. The phone continued its incessant ringing. I didn't want to pick it up if I didn't have to. I just concluded, though, that not doing so wouldn't solve anything. What would I do after I answered it? Would I immediately declare she wasn't Shion and ask who she was? Alternatively, would I pretend I was still fooled and try to grab her by the tail? Just, if you do that, do not confront her, because that would tip her off that you know.
それが一番安全かもしれないよな。
What I was most afraid of was the person on the phone. Was what the person on the phone would do when she realized I knew she wasn't Shion. However, as long as I continued to let her think I was fooled, she wouldn't do anything extreme, right? If I just make sure to be careful, then that should be the safest option. I've made up my mind. I'll answer the phone. Once I do that, I'll talk to her as if nothing happened. That wasn't all I'd do this time, though. I'd scope her out. Who was she? What was she thinking? And what was she after? Why was she doing this? Was she really the one who killed Tomitake-san and Takano-san? What happened to the mayor? What happened to Rika-chan and Satoko? I reached out for the receiver, my arm trembling. There were too many things I wanted to know, too many things I wanted to ask. I was scared. I should start by picking up the phone. Pick it up, Keiichi. Pick it up, Keiichi.
もしもし。
Oh, how relieved I would have been if it hadn't been a call from Shion.
ケイちゃんですか？私です。シオンです。
My momentary, convenient, and above all fleeting prediction was ripped into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't help shaking at this point. I'm ready for this.
なかなか出なかったんで、お留守かと思って切ろうとしてたんですよ。
ああ、ごめん。ちょっとお風呂に入っててさ。
それでもご家族の方が電話を取りませんか？ひょっとしてケイちゃんの家、今ご両親はお留守なんですか？
I feel like we shouldn't tell her that, but also if we don't tell her that, then she'll know that something's up, so we kind of have to. I failed. I let her in on a fatal piece of information that I was currently the only one at my house.
別に留守ってわけじゃ。そんなことより聞いたか？リカちゃんとサトコの件。
いえ、結局あの後どうなったんですか？見つかったんですか？
ああ、見つからなかった。
ケイちゃん、どうか気を落とさないで。
If only Shisan hadn't let me know, then I might have allowed myself to shed a tear or two at Shion's considerate words. Instead, and now that it had come to this, I couldn't take her words at face value. This person on the other end of the receiver, the more perfect as Shion they were, the more my blood curdled in fear.
リカちゃんとサトコはさらわれたんだよな。
はい、それは間違いないでしょうね。
Just how cruel and grave a meaning did those words hold? Their weight astonished me, and then a moment later I was overcome with numbness and felt like I would pass out. I had asked if Rika-chan and Satoko had been kidnapped. Shion, in turn, had answered that there wasn't much doubt. That cruel meaning behind her words.
リカちゃんとサトコは、いや、ごめん。村長さんはさらわれてどうなったと思う？まだ生きてるんだろうか？
What happened to Rika-chan and Satoko after they were kidnapped? That's what I wanted to ask, but I frantically caught myself. What if she had given that question a terrifying response, in such a way to sound like it had nothing to do with her? I was scared of that, so I immediately brought up the mayor. That said, however much I talked about the mayor,
おいおい、そんなにあっさり。
人間をさらってその状態を維持するのってとても大変なことだと思います。人質にするんでもない限り、ヨンが済んだら殺しちゃうのが一番合理的じゃないかと。
the world started to bend so much I almost lost my balance. The scenery in my eyes whirled around and around like the hands of a clock and tried to swallow me whole from below. I frantically put a hand on the wall to support myself. A moment later, a severe nausea welled up within me. How was she saying such things so lightly?
殺しちゃうってそんなにあっさり人の命を何だと思ってやがるんだ。
恐ろしいことだとは思いますが、多分そうではないかと。
If the mayor was killed, then did that mean the same had happened to Rika-chan and Satoko? I mean, I think that's safe to assume. But we really can't say anything about their state until their bodies are found. It could be that Satoko is still alive or Rika's still alive. But I think at least one of them is probably dead. No, that couldn't. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika-chan. It was Satoko. They couldn't kill them so readily.
リカちゃまとサトコちゃんも同じだと思った方がいいでしょうね。
Also, I'm pretty sure she just said Rika-chama, not Rika-chan. But I could be wrong on that. But yeah, it just says Rika-chan there in the text. Those were the words I wanted to hear the least, and I fought them back with a scream of my own. Even though it wouldn't change anything. I still couldn't help but scream. This time, the tears flowed. I'd been confronted with the most horrific outcome. that I'd been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I killed them. I killed Rika-chan and Satoko. I succumbed to the weakness of my own heart and confessed everything to Rika-chan. That's why they were killed. That meant I killed them. When Rika-chan looked at me with those innocent eyes, if only I hadn't given in. Even my voice gave out, and yet I still cried. And cried. Rika-chan and Satoko, they've been killed. We couldn't even find their remains. I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. If that was to be my punishment, then how brutal a punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it. Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in her eyes. However, I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more. This Shion killed them. I don't think that's true. I had no doubts that this person killed them. Why? Why? I felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? There was magma in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like it was going to erupt at any moment. I was incoherent at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside of me, rushing forth, and I couldn't stop them. These were not simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying. Both our ragged breaths could be heard over the phone. A silence fell between us. Shion didn't answer for a while. A sob. Was Shion crying? It was the same for me. As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding. I wonder if maybe what we could do is try and talk about the noise she heard in the storehouse. Maybe that would be, because that's something that only Shion would know about, right? So, in theory anyway, at least. Assuming someone else didn't know about it. There was nothing fake about her words. She'd even understood how I felt. You know, I almost wonder if maybe Shion lied to Keiichi. Maybe this is Shion. And maybe she lied to him because she views him as an enemy. As like one of the people of Hinamizawa. Or something like that. Potentially. I don't know. The reason why I think that she might view him as an enemy is because kind of like the way that it's set up here, with Keiichi about to potentially call her out on her lie, it's kind of set up the same way Reina and Keiichi were set up in the last chapter. Only the roles are reversed here. This time, it's Keiichi who is the one who knows something that the person doesn't think he knows. So, I don't know. Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved mare's death. With such a sad voice that none who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. But it definitely wasn't over the phone, because she's saying that she saw his smile, so she met him in person. Again, did I let my emotions take over and go off at her? Shion was in the same situation as me. She should have been my one and only comrade. My heart pounded. My other self, deep within my mind, whispered to me, "Don't forget, Keiichi Maibara. Don't forget about the mare on the morning after Watanagashi." He was told of Takano-san and Tomitake-san's deaths over the phone and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to a hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He'd only made it back just in time for the meeting, but he had the chance to meet her at Angel Maud. But she wouldn't have known about... Well, actually, she might have known about Okay, I forget exactly what the lie was. I think it was something about how she heard the news from him the night before or something. He went straight to the assembly hall. That's what Oishi-san said. Okay, one of the things I'm definitely going to need to, like, organize and figure out in my, my theory video and all that is going to be the whole timeline of what, like, when exactly Shion would have potentially been able to meet with, Kimiyoshi, if at all possible, and if she actually lied about anything. Because I feel like we figured out that she was lying about something, but then it totally escaped my mind as soon as that scene was over, so I'm definitely gonna need to go back and rewatch that.
いつ村長に打ち明けたんだよ。ごめんな、シオン。悲しい気持ちのところに追い打ちをかけるようで、シオンは打ち明けたんだよな。君吉のおじいちゃん、つまり村長に。
はい。
いつ打ち明けたんだよ。
I'd begun to get scared of saying it aloud after hearing her sad voice. I wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, then I wanted Shion to explain it to me.
村長さんは重い痔を患ってて、病院にかかっていたという話は知ってるか？
ケイちゃん、それが何か。
答えてくれ。知らないなら知らないと答えればいい。
There was a momentary silence. Then, after stammering a few times, she replied,
だったのは知ってます。座る時とか辛そうでしたから。
病院に通ってたんだ。どこの病院かは知ってるよな。
ごめんなさい。それはちょっと知りませんけど。でも、ケイちゃん、それが一体何の。
Shion didn't know what hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital to confess everything. Since she didn't know his destination, then she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If there was any other chance for her to contact him, it would have been after he came to Hinamizawa. No, he went to a restaurant. So, if it was Angel Maud, which the background made it seem like it was, but it might not have been, then that would have been a chance. The train, however, had been delayed, and he only got back right before the meeting was about to start. He didn't have time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion's spill the beans.
単刀直入に聞きたいんだ。シオンはいつ村長に打ち明けたんだ。どこでいつ。大雑把でいいから教えてほしいんだ。
ケイちゃん、なんでそんなことを。
Her sob pierced into my ears. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please prove to me that you're the real
あ
Shion.
りえないんだよ。村長が失踪した日、朝から消えるまで、シオンには接触できる機会はありえないんだ。
そんな。
村長は朝一で誰にも内緒の大学病院へ一人で診察に出かけた。シオンは今この病院を知らないと言った。だから帰ってくるまで村長と接触することはできないはずだ。そうだろう。帰りの電車が事故で遅れたので、自宅に帰ってきたのは会合の始まる直前だった。
So it seems like Keiichi's conspicuously forgetting about the restaurant here.
つまり会合が始まるまでの時間にも打ち明ける時間的余裕はないんだ。
I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart. It was so painful for me to say it.
シオンも一緒に会合に出たのか？そして会合の席上で打ち明けたのか？ここで打ち明けなきゃもう時間がないもんな。村長は帰宅途中で失踪するんだから。
Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she, or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she didn't give me an immediate response.
実は会合にで。
あの日シオンが行くと言ったバイトすら君は欠勤してるんだ。もっと端的に言おう。君は俺と一緒に行った図書館以降誰にも目撃されていない。
ケイちゃん、
園崎シオンは綿流しの翌日に失踪したんだ。
The other end fell silent as the grave. It was so quiet that it was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there.
君がすでに失踪していると言っているんだ。でもシオンはこうして毎晩俺に電話をかけてきてくれただろ。
Shion's sobs were torturing me. Still, I'm pretty sure I haven't said anything wrong.
頼む、シオン。俺が言ったことが間違ってるなら、シオン、頼むから。シオン、お前は村長に会ってなんかないんだ。もし会ったとしたなら。
If Shion ever did have the chance to meet with the mayor on that day, then that meant...
村長が会合を終えた後、すなわち失踪する直前、もしくは失踪してからしかありえないんだ。
Well, someone snapped. I don't know if it was Shion or Mion, but somebody. Beep, beep, went the dial tone. Okay, let's think about this from the perspective of it being Shion and her meeting him at the restaurant. I can't remember what it was. I just need to think back to like 20 minutes ago to when Oishi was talking to us in the car. Unfortunately, my log will not go back that far. Like, I guarantee it will not. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'll have to figure it out before next episode, but there was something, there was a lie that she told that we absolutely knew about. And it had to do with something about when she learned a certain thing. And I can't remember exactly what that was. Like, was it when she learned about Tomitake-san's death? Anyway, yeah. I think if we just set that aside for now and imagine that this is Shion, then I don't think it's too unreasonable for her to just freak out at the fact that Keiichi's, like, starting to turn on her here. Even if she did have a good explanation about where she was. Just maybe she would be so taken aback by Keiichi's line of questioning that she wouldn't answer it properly. But I think that's the less likely explanation, and the more likely explanation is just that it's Mion and she realizes that the jig is up. I stood there dazed for a while until I realized she had hung up on me. Well, looks like that's everything for this episode. So I presume we're going to have some tips to read next time. Let's see what those are. Scrapbook Note 11 and Suzu Mahjong Parlor. Huh. That sounds like something like where Oishi would be meeting with someone. But anyway, we'll check those out next time. And if Chapter 2 is the same amount of, or has the same number of chapters as Chapter 1, which it's not guaranteed, I don't know, but if it does, then next time will be the last episode, so yeah, that should be interesting. But yeah, until then, take care, and I will see you then.